الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Once again, I rise, giving the highest of praise to the great God Allah and the highest of honors to His holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, Islam. I want to give gratitude to the brother Khalid for that beautiful demonstration, that beautiful measure about the national descent name and free national name. The prophet brought us what no one else was able to bring to us, or what no one else brought to us in the years of slavery from 1779 to 1865, during that time of slavery. So give honors to the brother and the highest honors to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Quickly, I would like to look at chapter 47, and I'm just going to read a verse just to kind of open up a quick demonstration. And that in Roman numerals is XLVII. XLVII. And let's look at verse 9 or instruction 9. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. Islam.
Islam.
What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. We still have mental slavery among us 90 years after the prophet veiled the form.
Islam.
We still have this great sin among us 90 years after the prophet veiled the form.
I bear witness.
Our people are still clinging to names and principles that allude to slavery 90 years after the prophet veiled the form. 90 years after the prophet left, in this electrified age, you can turn on the TV and you look at shows called Blackish. 90 years after the prophet left us, you turn on the TV and you can see a show called Book of Negroes. You can still turn on the TV and turn to channels called Black Entertainment Television. 90 years after the prophet veiled the form. 90 years after the prophet told us that in reality a Negro is a four-legged animal, we still cling to that term. 90 years after the prophet told us that black, according to science, means death, we still cling to that term. The Census Bureau said, in using Negro, they said using Negro for the 1900 census was justified by what it saw as growing acceptance for the term, as it explained in a 1904 report called Negroes in the United States. Quote, that the dislike and avoidance of the word Negro among members of the African race is disappearing seems to be implied by current usage as indicated in the title of books, such as Mr. W.E.B. Du Bois' The Philadelphia Negro, and Mr. Booker T. Washington's The Future of the American Negro. Still 90 years later, after the prophet veiled the form, we still run into this term that means four-legged animal. In doing some studies, I ran across the 2020 Census Program Memorandum Series. Now, this is from the United States Department of Commerce, Economics and Statistics Administration, U.S. Census Bureau, United States Department of Commerce. Now, this one's been out for a while. It's dated January 26, 2018. Memorandum for the record from Albert Fontenot, Associate Director for Decennial Census Programs. Subject: using two separate questions for race and ethnicity in 2018 end-to-end census tests and 2020 census. This memorandum documents the 2020 census program decision to continue to use two separate questions for collecting data on race and ethnicity in the 2018 end-to-end census test and the 2020 census. Overview. The Census Bureau needed to make a decision on the design of the race and ethnicity questions by December 31st, 2017 in order to prepare the 2020 census systems and deliver the final 2020 census question wording to Congress by March 31st, 2018. Now, aren't we part and parcel to the government? Grand Governor, were you given notice or given an opportunity to make a decision on the Census Bureau question series?
We have an option, man, to proclaim our nationality.
The option is to proclaim our nationality. The Census Bureau will continue to use two separate questions for collecting data on race and ethnicity in the 2018 end-to-end census test. And as the proposed format for the 2020 census, the race and ethnicity questions include several design changes that were tested over the past decade in an effort to improve the design from the 2020 census. Here's what I want to get to. All federal statistical agencies, including the Census Bureau, must adhere to the 1997 Office of Management and Budget revisions to the standards for the classification of federal data on race and ethnicity. The OMB standards specify 5 minimum categories for data on race: American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and white, and 2 categories for data on ethnicity: Hispanic or Latino, and not Hispanic or Latino. Now, listen to this. The OMB standards explain that the specified race and ethnicity categories are socio-political constructs and should not be interpreted as being scientific or anthropological in nature.
That's right.
I'll read that again. The OMB standards explain that the specified race and ethnicity categories are socio-political constructs
Come on, man.
and should not be interpreted as being scientific or anthropological in nature. What political rights does a Negro have?
None.
What political rights does a black person have or a colored person have? American Indian or Alaska Native, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains a tribal affiliation or community attachment. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America. What does the prophet have to say about that?
Pardon the body, Mo. When you read that, we wasn't even included, but did we hear that?
American Indian or Alaska Native.
Okay.
A person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment.
Islam.
The prophet says the Moabites
Islam.
Come on, Mo.
from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. Does that answer your question?
You cleared it up for me, Mo.
Work, Mo. Don't play with it now. Come on with it now. Come on now.
And now the grand sheet, the solution is to proclaim your nationality.
Come on, bro.
No.
All right? Because the prophet says that the Moabites. All right? What's the modern term for Moabites? Moroccans. All right? Why are we Moorish Americans? We're descendants of Moroccans born in America. I'm not gonna burden the Moors. I'm just
Burn it all right.
Yes, sir.
Asian.
Okay.
Watch out.
A person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, or the Indian subcontinent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. Asian, huh? Well, this is the uniting of what?
Asia.
Asia.
Islam.
Our nationality is Moorish American, but what is our race?
Asiatic.
Asiatic. All right.
Come on.
Black or African American. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Okay. Terms such as Haitian or Negro can be used in addition
Wow.
to black or African American.
Haitian. Wow.
Haitian play?
So they're gonna do the
That's terrible.
Wow. Weren't they free?
All right. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family.
That's right.
Because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan.
It's none.
All right. Hispanic or Latino, a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, South or Central American, or other Spanish culture or origin, regardless of race. I thought we were talking races here. I mean, it just takes a little bit of, anyway. I'm just going to... The prophet said all of these are Muslims.
Islam? That's right. That's right.
Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. Well, white. We'll just go ahead and finish it off. Round it up. All right. Because they're just, here, it's like playing, playing cards. Here, you get this, and then you got to play with. Now we're just playing what we dealt here.
That's right.
All right. But that's not how it works.
That's right.
White, a person having origins in any of the original people
Wow.
of Europe, the Middle East. Matt?
Well, say it again, bro. Take that from time.
White, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Oh yeah?
Wow.
Hold on a second. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Well, the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa.
Come on now. That's what it said.
The prophet uplifted us, didn't he?
Indeed.
I give the highest of honors to the prophet Noble Jew Ali.
It's not.
I had a little bit more, but
It's still early, my wife finished one.
well, I have much more. But so we still have the Negro problem after 90 years after the prophet veiled the form. So I was in class a couple weeks ago. Torts, they read cases. All right, they even had judges referring to us as Negro. The professor puts on a video, and civil rights thing or whatever, and there was a sign that said, "No Negroes or apes allowed."
Four-legged animal.
So the Negroes in the same family as an ape or so-called hominid. But you read up on a hominid and then they put human in there though. See what they doing? But the prophet is making a divine plea for us to get back to that state of our forefathers, the state of mind of our foremothers and forefathers. So, do you remember when you were an ape or bird or worm?
Working.
Do you remember when you were a four-legged animal? Do you remember when you were a lifeless, inanimate object? Do you remember when you were stained, varnished, or dyed? Anybody remember that? If you have no better proving of your plea than that the priests have told you, you not know. You simply guess. We're masterminds, right?
That's the record say.
You gotta, I mean, masterminds. We trace ourselves back.
Come on, Jesus. Ronnie. Come on now.
Regard not what any man said.
Come on, Brother Justin.
Let's forget the flesh.
Go back with mine.
Go back into the land of fleshless things where the mind never forgets. All right?
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
حي على الصلاة
Allah